So we are here on InstallerSHOW on Panasonic stand, and we are here with Nathan, who will explain some things about cooling. So cooling is starting to be big topic in the UK. In some countries, let's say Croatia, where I'm from, this is normal for years, but hot summers are starting to be really topic here. So we are here to explain what is cooling with heat pumps.
So we actually start looking at some of these units here. With an air source heat pump, what we can do, we can connect what we call a smart fan coil to them. And the good thing for Panasonic heat pump is all of our range does both heating and comfort cooling as standard. So all we actually do, the same pipework, you flow and returns to connect to each one of these units. And then in the summertime, they can provide the comfort cooling, whilst in the wintertime, they'll all provide the heating in the homes too.
I just also want to mention that fan coil, it's like air conditioning. So you can see this, you can find Panasonic air conditioning, which is the same, but from the inside, it's like air conditioning, but you have water pipes inside. And this is like, you have one outdoor unit for cooling, but there are also some downsides. What can be, let's say, condensation, humidity, this kind of a thing. What is from your experience important to mention?
So what we need to look at, especially when we are looking at these units for the cooling aspect, is exactly that. It's that condensation. You can't just put these units in using that pipework and not fully lag and vapour seal them. If they do, when the heat pump is throwing the cold water around, you are going to get the condensation buildup and you can get drips. The drips can cause a few leaks and all them kind of bits. So we need to make sure we are taking that into account when we are taking a look at the installation and just making sure we have fully lagged them. Once we've done that, that's the only real big problem we have to overcome. And it's an easy one to do, especially we are taking it into account right on the first aspect of the install.
When we are talking about temperatures and condensation, it is important, especially because a lot of heating installers, maybe they don't know what is going on, but here you can have 7-8 degrees flow temperatures, and dew point of the, depending on the conditions, can be below 14 or 15 degrees. So with fan coils, flow 7, return 12, or even 10, 15, you can have quite big issue. But what I can mention, that Panasonic controller has also additional benefits, which is humidity control. So Nathan, how we can control humidity? Probably with some external equipment.
It is exactly that. So what we can start looking at is saying, right, we can see the humidity building up. So we can have a control which connects to the heat pump, and we can actually turn the compressor off. So that way we can go, we're picking that dew point up. We know it's going to start being an issue. So let's turn the heat pump off, wait for it to go warm back up, and then kick it back in. So of course, with third-party controls, there's always options where we can start playing around and to be able to achieve that some other ways stuff.
And at the end, just to mention water capacities. So we are talking about cooling, water capacities of these units, what you can offer. And what is your experience until now with cooling, especially in the UK with some new builds or projects, what you did?
So when you look at the capacities, we're making a wide range. So it can be from 0.5 of a kilowatt demand all the way up to 3.5, well, up and down. Depending on the models you need, is what the solutions we've got. And when we start taking a look at the UK market now, especially within new build, the new build properties, we are starting having to look under something called Part O, which is overheating. And that's now starting with some of the properties we're building now are so airtight, it means we can struggle to cool them down. So now we know we're going to be putting air source heat pumps in, but we're putting a heat pump in already. We know we're going to need some sort of comfort cooling in. It makes sense. Rather than have multiple units outside, let's use that one heat pump, connect to these smart fan coils, and then you've met your Part O requirement and providing the comfort cooling you need in that property and that room.
And also what is important to mention at the end, that with this, you have one outdoor unit. You don't need multi-split with or single split with more outdoor units. And also what is benefit of cooling with heat pumps, with air conditioners, you can have up to 4 or 5 indoor units. If you have some big property, you can put how much fan coils you want, because it's the same like radiators, but cool water is going on. This is all. Thank you, Nathan, for explanation, and hope more people will go with cooling in the UK.
Thanks so much. And yeah, let's take a look. There's more information on the website, and yeah, always happy to help out.